if Jesus walked on set, would you look at him and be like, oh, hey, how you doing? And be able to keep doing what you're doing. You should be able to continue doing whatever you're doing if Jesus showed up in flesh. That's how you do it, right? If you got any apprehensions, you know what's up. You know what you're doing. What you do matters because it
Absolutely.
dictates what people think about Jesus a lot of times based on what you and I do as Christ followers.
Tyler, we don't have to do it around two, and I'll say this for all your listeners. For what you let me just tease you this way.
I gotta start by giving you your flowers, man, because once I see like an actor, someone in the entertainment field, period, standing on business for the Lord, man, it's always nice to see that. Um, But, like, I've always wondered, like, with actors, because 'cause I'm a Christian rapper, wasn't always the case, but I tried to keep the morals the same until I got to where I'm at now, obviously. So to see an actor like yourself or someone in that business kinda doing that same thing, man, is really awesome to see because I used to have I really still do have aspirations to act and to be on the screen. I just never got there. Music was something I felt like I could control, so I gravitated towards that. But yeah, so it's just awesome to see like people like yourself, people that you've worked with, obviously. There's an actor, I'm sure you know Neil McDonough, he's come out and spoke out on things that he would and wouldn't do, um, as far as his film goes. But man, I just want to shine light on that and give you your flowers for that, man. I really, really love to see someone like yourself standing on business for the Lord.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, the thing for me is I never planned to be an actor. So,
Mhm.
I kind of find out real quick this was God's plan, not
Yeah.
mine. And I don't want to mess it up, and I just knew at the end of the day, um, the way that will make me different is, to go out to Hollywood and just never leave Jesus out of the process. That's just something that I think a lot of people claim to do. And, growing up, not fully knowing what it meant to be a true Christ follower, I would believe what I heard when, we'll see the person do a movie. It could be, a nudity in it and just whatever, just non-God honoring things in it. And then at the same time, they would give him glory and props when they ain't got an award or something like that. And so, you grow up thinking like, as long as you give God glory, you can do whatever you want. And the more I matured in my faith and realized that's not the case, I figured I need to go out to Hollywood and, and this is the opposite. I think it was my career shift from sports to acting. I'm like, what will make me different is to go out there and not leave Jesus out of the process, not put my faith on the shelf, not stop saying Jesus' name. Just keep doing everything that I know is biblically God honoring and still make it. Then that right there would just shatter the whole steal that, you can't make it without, you know, dropping your standards. And also it was shining light on the fact that you shouldn't be trying to make it, if you're a person, you shouldn't try to make it by hiding more in Christ. But at the end of the day, it takes somebody to actually do it. Because everybody talk about it. I'm like, let's see somebody actually do it for real. And that became the mission. So in me to do anything different, like for me to go out there and do the very thing that I said I wouldn't do, which is to go out there and just get crazy and then just get God glory, that would make me go better than what I saw. That would kill the mission. And that's what drove me every single day. It's been driving me every day of my career. And that's what I continue to do.
Man, and like you said, like, we don't know obviously what goes on behind the scenes with people who are in the business and stuff like that, but like you said, they'll get on stage, they'll shine light on God, but, whatever they were doing really didn't glorify him in that sense, but they give him the credit, but, they didn't really stand on the biblical terms,
Yeah.
and, a lot of people will say like, "Oh, it's just art," or "It's just acting," or "It's just music," like in my case, "It's just music."
Nah.
Um,
But see, that's
ha
it. Well, a couple of things to speak on that. That's the
Yeah.
one thing I love about my time in Hollywood. Like, I
Mhm.
do know what they do. You know,
Mm.
not everybody,
Right,
but
right, right.
I have tons of friends and associates within the business. I mean, I've been there, and that's what always kills me about people who pass judgments on Hollywood and never lived there, ain't never worked there, ain't never been there,
Yeah.
but they pass judgments, man. What you really find when you're there is it's not so much that they're trying to be critical or they're trying to be. Some are obviously. I mean, you got a whole spectrum of people, but to just paint this broad brush that everybody out there ain't got no love for Jesus, they
Mm.
ain't trying, they is a lie. You haven't lived there. I've been there. What it is you're on a path,
Yeah.
and on this path, you know, their faith is still maturing. There are some people that totally believe in Jesus and they totally believe in the Bible, but they haven't matured to a point where they don't think that God cares about their films, and they do think it's just entertainment. And they found a way to mentally separate Jesus from their careers, and that's just a maturity thing. It is not a hypocrisy thing. Some of these people don't even know. And then when they find out through scripture and other people like even like me that learned that for myself, and you tell them and then you bring it to their attention, now at that point they got a decision to make, because now you can't claim ignorance if more. And so that's kind of what you deal with out there, is you deal with people that they're doing the best they can with what they know. Then you got others who are making the choice like, yeah, I know what God don't want to do this, but I need this money. Then you got people who've never heard. And you got so there's a whole spectrum of people, and that's why it takes somebody like once you've gotten to a point where I've got to what I know in scripture, it's my responsibility to go out there and live it out the proper way, and then be an example. So that's really what it comes down to.
Just be the light, and people see that. People notice, man. People notice changes and testimony. That's why I like this so much, because you get to hear testimonies, and your story's relatable to somebody. And even though you may not see them being affected by it, someone's definitely going to be listening, man. You never know who you can affect, especially in that world. It's like you said, they may not know. They may have grew up with that, in that darkness, and they stayed there. They haven't got to see the light yet. And you got people like yourself that they see that, like, oh man, like he's doing this, like I can do that too. And maybe
Yeah.
they, start to go through that same transformation as well.
I mean, man, I used to be, I used to be in the same boat too. By the way, you
Yeah,
mentioned earlier about how
yeah.
it's just music, or it's just
Hmm.
and I used to think that, but then you read in scripture where you see when Jesus is teaching it and saying that like people you either gather or you scatter, like based on what you do. When you say you follow me, you say you're a Christ follower, and then people start to watch what you do, then anything you do needs to become a tool that Jesus can use. It doesn't always
Yes,
mean you got to be preaching sermons or anything like that, but
yes.
sometimes it's just how you do things. For example, I mean, I could go and say, like, if I was a CPA, a person that
Hmm.
does taxes. Well,
Right.
if I call myself a Christian, well, I
Yep.
can't teach you how to cheat on your taxes. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that. If I am, it doesn't matter what profession you are, how you do it matters, especially when you say you're a Christian, because
Yes.
that's going to dictate what you're really about. So when it comes to music,
Yes.
okay, it was if it was, and I always say this with let's just stick with my career, with acting. Okay, so it's just acting, it's just words, so in that case, you're saying I could go on the set or go on a movie, just mother f this and suck this and just all this stuff because it's just
Yep.
words. Here's the thing: I have two problems with that. The first one is let's just take the faith aspect out. Let's just take Jesus out of it. Take all of that out. The world alone, minus faith, minus Jesus, minus anything, already censors it. Think
Yes.
about that. The world already censors profanity.
Right.
Forget Jesus, forget the world does it already. So that's telling you that it's already deemed inappropriate by the
Right.
world. So how in the world do you, as a Christian, like Jesus says, oh no. I know the world censors it and all of that, and they censor nudity and everything. But it's okay for you to do it for my glory. Like what? That doesn't
Yeah, it
even make
doesn't make
sense.
any
So
sense.
we
Yeah.
already the world already censors it without you, and then you're gonna try to make it okay as virtue. The Bible literally is against all of that. But then on the other hand, too, you know, ask yourself this, and this is a question that just doesn't get asked a lot of people who call themselves Christ followers
Mm.
in the industry.
Yeah.
If you left this, make suck this, and do this, if Jesus walked on set, would you look at him and be like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" and be able to keep doing what you're doing, with
Yep.
not worried about anything? No, you would.
Right.
And you never hear that question asked, and that's the question that I ask when I one on
Ab-
one with people. I'm just like, if you You should be able to continue doing whatever you're doing. If Jesus showed up in the flesh, if you knew it the same, you should be able to keep doing what you're doing. That's how you know it's right. If you got any apprehensions, you know what's up. You know you doing that, and you know he's not signing off on that nudity project or this or that. So that's what it is. Not just music. It's not just none of that. What you do matters because it
Absolutely.
dictates what people think about Jesus a lot of times, based on what you and I do as Christ followers. So what you do is way more important. It ain't just words, it ain't just music, it ain't just it's deeper than that.
Right. No, I get it. And I know there's like a fine line too. Like I was gonna ask you, you pretty much answered it just now, but like when you get a script or when you're presented with an opportunity for a film or series or whatever it is, and you're reading it over, have you ever felt, I guess I'll ask this now, have you ever been in a situation where you had to turn something down because it was like, nah, I don't feel comfortable doing that, or that Jesus wouldn't approve of that?
That's been the story of my career.
Mm,
I end up saying no a lot more than I get a chance to say yes, and people don't
that's good.
realize that. And the I
Yeah.
used to you could call it repercussions, but now uh, I look at it more as it's a blessing.
Yeah.
I don't seek to be rejected. I don't plan to be rejected. I don't go looking for like feathers on my cap. I say, hey, I just stood up for the Lord. I rejected for this, I'm this, I'm that. No. Every
Mhm.
time I see a script, I actually get so much joy in my heart. And I be thinking, here's an opportunity for me to participate. Here's an opportunity to get you brought up. Like it's so exciting. And then I start to go through the script and read it, and I always go and look for the language, the tone, all of that. And when all these f bombs start popping up, and all the just the stuff that tells you you can't do it, man, my whole demeanor just drops. I feel
Mm,
so
yes,
deflated
bro.
because I know that I'm faced right now for the decision. And sometimes, man, some great pay be attached to these opportunities.
I
But at
bet.
the end of the day, you know what you got to say and do. And so you turn that stuff down, man. And so it happens a lot. And, but at the end of the day, I always tell myself, like, I'm to the point now where I'm like, well, I'm not going to take this. So honestly,
Why even, yeah, why even bring it to me?
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels
Yeah,
like
yeah.
torture. So
Yeah.
with that being said, knowing that God is loving, kind, and always thinks 8 billion steps ahead of you, I'm like, well, what is the purpose in this? What are you trying to do? Uh, what am I saying? So I've been looking to see like what is the reason because I'm not going to take it. Sometimes it's to strengthen me. I believe sometimes it's to remind me, of the mission, and then other times, and I've done this. It's actually to go to the audition. And when I
Yeah.
go to the audition, what I do is I change everything in the script. Like you get these
Mm,
sides, if you get just your auditions, and I would change everything to make it something that I can't wait. And I'm like,
yes.
look, I'm an actor. Actors act. I'm here to
I
act, and
like
I want
that.
to show you. I'm going to
Yeah.
show you that I can do it without saying things. And I don't tell them that. I just go in there and,
Just go
and I
do it.
just do it. And cause I always say
Wow.
to myself, one or two things can happen. All you can do is, say you're an idiot, you can't read, get out. or
I like
or you
that.
can say, hey, you know what? That was the and this has happened
Yeah.
before. They're like, oh, that was really great. Well done. And then I'll leave, and they don't even realize that I didn't say the f bomb. I changed it to something I can say. And then also something that happens, I found that I believe the Lord uses me for is when I'm there and people recognize me and they say, oh look, ain't you the guy from the war room, or you the guy from
Mm,
this or that, or
love
you
it.
the guy I read about with your faith, your Christ father. I say, dude, what are you doing here?
Here.
And I'm like, and I'm auditioning for this, and it's just like, and then they would think
Mm,
he wanted them, he wanted them fakers, he wanted them, and I'd be like, wow, bro, this is what I'm gonna say, and I show them all the stuff that
wow.
I've changed. And then what happens is they admire your courage to go in there and challenge the production with that. And I did that. And so the guy after me had a long conversation. So sometimes it's just meant for you to have a conversation with other actors who are on that road. Because afterwards, when I got done, he went after me. So I'm a good few minutes ahead of him. He comes running out of the audition place, caught up with the qual garage, and was like, yo,
I heard your audition before you go get heard it, and you said like you did that huge stuff, and that's so dope. And then he looked me in my face and was like, "Don't ever change. Don't stop doing what you're doing." And what's funny about that, it was as to say, I don't have the courage to do that because he's kind of on that Christ road too.
Mhm.
But he said it the way it's written.
Right.
And but again, you never know where he is today. That was years ago. Who knows? But he
Yeah, who
saw it
knows?
done right,
Yeah.
and you never know the seed that you planted right there. So that's kind of how I handle these projects that I can't beat. But no, I take no pleasure in having to turn down. Well, I don't take joy in that, but if it comes back down to it, that's what he wants me to do. Oh, and I want to say yes. I really want to say yes. A
Yeah.
lot more than I get the chance to.
You get deep into it too. It's not at the beginning, it's like halfway through or at the end, you're like, "Oh, man," like you got to get through
Yeah.
most of the script.
Or worse. I don't know what's worse. It's when you get the audition from the agent and you amp and you open it up, and it's like the very first word is like, "Who the f is this?" It's like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. I see that too.
or it's like you get all the way through, like you said, and you like,
Yeah.
finally, I get to say yes. And then, but you know what? What's funny is,
Ooh.
man, I wouldn't reject the script because of that, because it's
Mm.
one word and I can change. And
Yeah.
and it's like if they really want me and they really see how I'm laying it down, we not gonna typically they don't reject you for a simple word there.
Right.
One word don't make a script. It's
Right.
when the whole tone,
Yeah.
whole thing, all throughout, and it's something you can't manipulate, can't change. Or if my other character requires me to say, F, because he says, "Well, F you too," like, and you can't
Right.
control what the other person is saying. And if a writer really wants that tone, first of all, I'd be like, "Man, did you even research on me and who I am?" Um, and typically they have, and this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. But they just think that you're one. They've dealt with Christians before,
Yeah.
and those Christians will say anything for the check. So they usually think that I'm pretty much the same way. They
Mm.
find out that I'm not, and you know, you just go from there. But like I
Yeah.
said, man, you can't buy me, man. At the end of the day, I'm gonna be face to face with Jesus and come to him to approve of how I did my thing. And I believe that he is the ultimate closer of doors anyway. So when they do tell me though, that's the Lord's done. And when I get a yes, that's the Lord's yes. So they really don't have the power. And that's what actually helps me be not so nervous when I go to do my auditions. So I'm like, yeah, y'all ain't really making the decision anyway.
Yeah.
It's a God thing. So I
Yeah.
go ahead and do what I gotta do.
Yes, sir. I gotta ask now, you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but is there one role that sticks with you that you had to turn down
Oh, I
that you've
tell you.
seen it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's actually a couple. One was I auditioned to be on. This was back, I think, when The Rock was doing Ballers, and I got an audition for that. And I had to manipulate the words so much that
Uh,
first of all, it's crazy because it was one of the first times when I started doing that, and I wanted to get it so bad and I got so nervous from the simple fact that it was the project that it was, and I did also be in some scenes with him and all this other kind of stuff, which was cool. And this is earlier in my career, so
right.
I'm still gaining confidence. And
Yeah.
then I'm manipulating the words, and that's just not something you do, that they say. But I did have my God courage, I have my Jesus courage. I'm changing the word. I'm gonna go in there and do.
Yes.
But so that was one, that it just would have been, it just been cool to get. And then there was another one that would have had me in the films with like Sanaa Lathan and a couple others. But if you get it, you got to do this really deep makeout scene with her. And
Mm.
I'm deep in my marriage at that movie,
Yeah, man.
and so
Yeah.
I don't go that way. And but
That's
I
sweet.
actually got a call back for that, and the discussion was about like using you know body doubles and stuff like that for certain things, and I was like, man,
It's still me though. It's still
yeah. I mean, but you know what though, for what they were talking about, I
yeah.
would have I would have done that because here's the
Okay.
thing: people will see it and then judge it, and then and when they find out that it's not even me, and that
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I made in the story behind what I got them to do is the bigger mission where I refuse to dishonor the Lord with my and get somebody else to teach us all on this world. It's not gonna be me and or whatever. And I made change in Hollywood. That's how you got to spark somewhere, made change. And I still didn't do anything sinful. I know for a minute people gonna be tripping like, yo, he's kissing another woman. But then when you realize it's not me that got somebody else to do that, and I pushed for that and fought for that and got it, that is what I wanted. So
Yeah.
if we had that conversation with my agent and we had those stipulations in place, I actually thought I was going to get it. Somebody else got it. And the person who got it didn't have those stipulations. So if you got person A that's do everything you wrote, person B, you got to get doubles and all that stuff, then you lose to person A. And that happened. But again, I get to tell this story and people see that I'm about my faith. Like I'm a real one when it comes to this stuff. And then also, I did compromise, and I'm huge on not compromising. And
Yes.
so yeah, man. But yeah, stuff like that, man. You know, and then there's a bunch of roles that were really nice mainstream roles, which I worked because it puts me in front of a whole tell audience. But at the end of the day, like I said, you lose out to someone who is a lot easier that will just do everything that they say. And it's at that point in my career I realized that I'm going to be willing to wait for the role, continue to be me, and I'm going to embrace being me. And I'm okay, and I'm all with clay content for it. And I'm just going to wait for the one to open up the doors, give me those roles.
No, that's amazing, man. Because like you said, I get it though. How you say you turn down, you have to turn down more stuff obviously than you accept. So the roles become few and far in between probably. And I'm sure your agent he probably has other clients as well. I'm guessing, I don't know, but like someone like yourself, like to have an agent, because I know a lot of people wouldn't be willing to take that on, right? If you're in the agency and you have a
Yeah.
guy who's like, well, I'm not doing this. I'm not. That's kind of that would be my approach as well. Like I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that, and so it's like, well, how am I get you some roles if you're not gonna do this? Well, I've
Well,
been
I would
pushing,
say
so
it helps when you've had some prior success. Like for me,
right.
fortunately for me,
Yeah.
when I first came in, my first movie went number 4 in the country, and then we follow up the number 1 in the country, and so it's like when I went to Hollywood off my first one, which was correct because he went before, and you kind of you got some chops as they like to say. They've seen you in a movie, so they know you can act. I think at the beginning, a lot of people just figured I was they didn't know it, so I'm really fresh and new and hobbyist, which is like he's a compromiser just like everybody else. So a lot of
Mm,
people are excited because they know that you're going to do anything,
right.
that's what they think. Then my first couple of years out there, it was very, very quiet because I wasn't exactly what they thought I was. And we kind of got to still, you need another project to come along. I ended up getting a national commercial that aired in the Super Bowl when it's called Corral commercial. So that was like my first really big thing. It was just commercial clean. I was able to do Go Corral commercial. So that got me a little bit of notoriety because it was during the Super Bowl, of course. Then you turn around and you get War Room, and War Room goes number 1. And this is where things change a little bit because yeah, it's a faith-based movie, but it's the number 1 movie in the world. So I mean,
Yeah.
what number 1 movie in the country, and so you got to talk about it. So all the shows in Hollywood were talking about it, having me on as a guest. So I'm the it thing, just for even just for a few days, I'm the male lead in the number 1 movie in America. So you get that going, and then now people want to talk to you because you got people watching. They still think I'm probably gonna compromise, but at the end of the day, I'm attractive to agencies and managers and things like that. So at this point, I'm I'm getting meetings now. My agent is able to get me meetings with major managers places. And, I'm going in for these meetings and I'm able to talk about what I really want to do and all that. And you got that respect because you're sitting as the male lead in the number 1 movie in America. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of how I was able to do that at that time. I definitely wouldn't recommend it. Uh, you just starting out, walking in. I mean, you still want to hold your morals and
Right.
but you just got to
Demanding.
just, yeah, you better off just going and searching out your clean
Right.
roles, working your way up. But now
Yeah.
again, even at that point though, if you ever get called into a meeting and they ask you what you will and won't do, you tell them straight up what you will
Yeah.
and won't do.
Yep.
But in the case of where I was saying, I'm getting a meeting with one of the top agencies in Hollywood. I walked in there, and like I said at the time, Holly Berry is on this roster. Taraji Henson is on this roster. And, I'm in the same, you know, agent management with them, and talk with them, had a conversation about what I will and wouldn't do, and I'll never forget, man. They kicked me out the first time. Basically, we had like a five minute conversation with the head of the agency. I mean, he's literally got the A-list roster, but they invited me in. I mean, like I said, number one movie, lead bail. Let's at least get talk to him. But my age got me, and we talked for like 5 minutes. He was just like, okay, yeah. I haven't really heard of you, but whatever. I mean, it was so. I don't. I'm like, why was I invited? Like this was this. I mean, we didn't even. I didn't even get the chance to say hardly anything.
Yeah.
But then I get an email that night and invited me back, and they said come back. And I'm like, I don't understand. Man, talking to my wife, like, I don't understand what's going on here. I'm telling you, this guy stayed on the phone during our meeting, talking with his A-list actors and kept stalking, talk to me, and they call back. I mean, it was the weirdest thing ever. I'm like, I did not get this. Like, they're not gonna sign me. I did not get this.
Right.
I got a call back to Kodak the next day. So we go back downtown Hollywood. And I met with his assistant. And they was like, all right, so, they've told us all about you. I got a couple questions. We started talking. And he was like, okay, you got a list of things that you said you wouldn't do. This is
Yep.
what caught our attention. He was like, okay, I get it with the profanity and the nudity and all of that, and whatever, because we got actors that are like that. But you put here that you wanted to kiss another woman or whatever. It's like, look, dude, your makeup is the lead male type. So a lot of what we get to get you in, you be the love interest, and you see you're not gonna kiss nobody. Like, that's not gonna work. We not gonna get you anything. It was like, it's just a kiss, man. And I was
They
like,
kept,
bro,
yeah.
I said, man, that you tell that to my wife. And then I was like, first of all, let me break it down to you like this. So you saw my film Courageous, right? And this is I played a thug, right? Yeah. So you see that fight scene? I beat the crap out of that guy. They was like, right, you did a good job. I'm like, yeah, but no, that was real. Not one punch landed. Yeah, we get up with blood and be bruised. Not one punch landed. I did not hit that. He
Right.
didn't hit me. If you try that with a kiss, we don't air kiss. Those
Right.
kisses, I put my lips on this other woman. She
Yeah.
can feel it. I can feel it. You don't fake that. And it's the same thing with language. Language. You can't fake an F bomb. Like you say
Man.
it. You say these things. So,
Yeah.
you know, at the end of the day, this is why when you look and you see how many marriages happen due to an on-set relationship, co-star, how many, cheat scandals or how many
Yes.
they
I was just
start
about to
dating.
say that.
So
Yep.
many people are linked up because they had such great chemistry
Yeah.
in a movie and they were kissing and doing all the different things. I'm like, so bro, that stuff is not fake. The only thing fake about me and the woman is the fact that we ain't really married. And these ain't really our kids. This ain't really our house. So when we touch lips and tongues or whatever else, that's about as real as it can get. And I'm gonna pay for that when I get home in my
For
marriage.
real.
So I'm like, so no, you don't. It ain't just a kiss. And then he stayed there. He looked at me, and I'm like, up here it comes. He said, I like this guy. And then this other guy started laughing, and then they signed me, man. And that's
Nice.
now that is a feather in my cap because I tell people stop listening to everybody who tries to tell you about Hollywood and its inner workings and it never lived there. Because they tell you that those type of things can't happen. But man, if it's God's purpose for you and he prayed and if you pray about this is what he wants you to do, then like I said, I went in there just saying the Lord's gonna say yes or the Lord's gonna say no. These guys are, who the Lord is using to deliver the message. So I'm gonna be me and tell the truth and just honor God. And Hollywood allowed me to have my standard in place and signed me to one of the top management agencies, in Hollywood. Like I said, you'll see, Hollywood very cool. I went to high school there. Well, not at the same time. We went to the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
But so I thought that was cool. But it's Raj P. Henson and just all the other than TC Stallings. And I know you're like, how the heck did he get there?
Yeah.
I got there being myself, told my standards, was respectful about it, wasn't acting all weird like I'm, tough Christian guy. I just told him how I want to succeed, and I want my talent to speak for me. If they take a chance on me, I won't let down. And they they signed me, man. You know what I mean? So that right there, like I said, stop listening to people who've never been out, you never been there, and they tell y'all it's this, it's that. Listen to people who've been there and have honored the Lord while there, and have really been in the trenches and dealt with people, and that's where you get your true facts about us out there.
Man, I'll share this with you briefly. So when I started coming to Christ, I wasn't there yet. I was still working on myself, so I'm not a Christian rapper yet, but I was the positive artist. I kept music clean. I just stuck to love songs, no lustful songs, just straight love songs. Um, at least for the first couple years. Then you started to see me teeter off a little bit, but I'll get into that. But when I work with bigger artists, like I got these big features working with these other artists, I would always tell them to keep it clean, to talk about this, that, and the other. And I really never had any pushback. It was like you said, it was a lot of respect. They're like, all right, bro, like I got you, whatever. Like you paying for it, basically. Like, I do what you want. Um, and so, like, for a long time, it was good, and then I got to one artist who it was eventually it started my downfall, but, it was Kevin Gates, by the way,
Okay.
and, I told him, like, what to do, what not to do, whatever, and he was kinda I don't know, I was through email, so he was probably like, "Yeah, alright, whatever," and he did his own thing, and so I ran with it, and it was a mistake because that caused me to compromise. I compromised and I accepted it and I ran with that. And so after that, I stopped doing it. I let it go. I was like, all right, bro, like, yeah, no, you're good, bro. Do whatever. And so that caused me to lose. Like when people listen to the music now, they're like, wait, what is it? I thought there was no like not only me, I wasn't cursing, but I didn't allow anybody else to curse either. So now I got parental advisory stickers on my album. Now I got like now you got to be warned before you listen to this one. And that was a rough 2 to 3 year stretch where I did catch myself. I stopped completely. I was out and, I got right with God obviously ever since then. But that one little compromise hurt me, and I talk about it a lot, like, I really do. And like you said, there was an instance where, it was another artist, and he was in the booth, and I know I told him verbatim what to do, what not to do, and he was recording a hook to a song, and it was super lustful, and it was like, "I wanna sex you here, I wanna do this, this, and this." I'm just like, I'm waiting for the cut, and I was like, "Hey," and he came out, and I told him, and man, I got this long speech about, it's just art, you gotta do this, this, and this. I make these type of songs too, but you gotta have these, and I was still I was trying to gain that confidence like you said too. So I was like, "Alright, this is my moment, I'm standing on business," and so I did, and the song never came out. We actually never even did a song, um, or anything like that. But it was a big artist. I was with them, and after that, it kind of killed his whole mood, and he just didn't want to work anymore. I was like, all right, like it is what it is, and I never forgot that, man. And when you said that, I haven't thought about that in a long time, but when you said that, it came back to me, and I remember being in that studio by myself. I was solo. I didn't go with any crew and it was the engineer, him, his manager, his other friends, whatever. And I'm sitting there like, no, like this is what I do. I don't have any like lustful songs. And I think this was before the Kevin Gates stuff too. So um I remember that, man, just not compromising. So I feel like, like I said, when I see other people like yourself doing it in a different space, but the same, same type of stuff, it's just a blessing to see that, man, because you always see is what's on screen. And I have 3 kids, so the fact that they can watch you on TV and be like, "Oh, I'm a fan of TC. Like I like him. Like all his role, I've seen all his movies because I can watch those." It's really cool to see that, and that's how I wanted to be. I wanted to be the guy, even when I was doing secular music, that the little kids can listen to. Like I can go to a park and do performances. I can go to a fun day and do performances where other people would have to search deep in their catalog for something to find or every other word would be chopped out or whatever. I never had to do that. And I still haven't to this day I haven't said a curse word. Um but now I'm obviously doing Christian music now, so it's even more of a standard now and more less of a compromise. And it's like you said too, is this something Jesus would approve of? I think of that all the time. Like when I make a song, could I sing this in heaven? Could I rap this in front of Jesus, like, and not be like worried about a reaction? Like, I think about stuff like that too. So
You know
I
what? You know
get it.
what? You know what's funny, man? I try to explain this to people. When people talk about, I think people mix up Christian and faith based.
Mm,
They're not necessarily the same exactly. Like if you're being a Christian rapper or Christian musician or Christian uh, actor like what
mhm,
I am. Let's change the terminology a bit. You very quickly see what I get that. So let's go to like a doctor and a faith-based doctor,
mm,
and I'll show you what that is. If you really break that down, a faith-based doctor would probably only operate on Christians. Like
mm,
I only do faith-based, you know, uh, medicine. So how might that look? Well, I travel the country, and I go to Christian neighborhoods where they can't afford health care, and I help them uh, and stuff like that. So I look within the church, the church being the body of belief. I look within the church to see those that are poor, that are, can't afford medical, that are sick, and, you help them. But once again, you're in the church. You're sticking with it. You don't go outside the church. And not that is wrong to do that, really. This is your calling, faith based. A Christian doctor operates on everybody. At the end of the day, it's how you do what you do.
right.
That this is what you have in common with the faith-based doctor.
Get that.
The only difference between you and the faith-based doctor is that the faith-based doctor only operates on people of faith. The Christian doctor has this is now you're just talking about general hospital or whatever, and anybody come in there.
Yeah.
But neither one of their standards change. It's just a matter of who the patients are. It's just a
Right.
matter. That's the only difference. It is the same thing when it comes to Christian. Like we used to have to do Christian music now. If you was doing mainstream music and that
Mm,
mainstream music doesn't dishonor God, you're still a Christian artist because you are
mm,
an artist. You're a musician who's a Christian.
mm.
Now, I think
Faith
so.
based.
If you're saying I do faith based, that makes all your music is pretty much ministry type music. Like
Right.
it's whatever. And that's the same thing with like my career. War Room is a faith based movie. Courageous is a faith based movie. But if I ever got a chance to be the next Black Panther, I'd do that. That is not a faith based movie.
Right.
But it's but but I'm a Christian. So like for me, it's going to that's a movement that a Christian can do. That's what it comes down to. I'm a Christian artist, Christian actor, meaning no matter what the genre is, it needs to be something that I could do in front of Jesus. It needs to be something that doesn't dishonor him,
Mm,
And so that's I'm not a faith based villain actor. Meaning if it's not a basically a ministry message that move me forward, TC
right.
won't do it. That's what a faith-based film actor would say. I'm
Right.
a Christian performer. All that means is, hey, if you sign me, just know I'm coming with, and I'm not leaving Jesus behind. So
Yeah.
if there's anything within there that I have to do that would dishonor him, it ain't getting done. And so that's what it means to be a Christian artist, performer, doctor, lawyer, whatever. So it's just that's just something that I think people just need clarity on,
Yeah.
because there's only there are so many. What do you call a Christian who is in a profession? They do you say I'm going to the faith based industry?
Right. Right.
I'm going to
Right. Right.
that. So no, man. But if all you operate on is Christians, then you got a faith based medicine.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that a lot. And you've played obviously Tony Jordan. That's a guy that people are you're synonymous with. But it's like two different it's the same character, but like two different characters in a sense. Like in the beginning, he's going through it, he's trying to find his way, like we all do. It's very relatable in that sense too. Like, you kind of lose focus on God. And my whole ministry is called Stay Focused. And
Yeah,
I've been there. Like lust got me. My career got me. I started I started even ministry, honestly, because you start worrying about the world and kinda alienating your family. Like, I've seen a lot of people do that as well. I'm guilty of it, where you feel like, "I gotta do this, this, and this. We're good, so Imma go over here," but the whole time, they're not good. You That's your first ministry, you need to be there, um, for your family and minister with them as well. All that to say, where is your Tony Jordan story? Like where you used to be working through that, coming through it, and now you in this role in Forge, where he's like more of the I'm the helper, I'm the minister, I'm the one who's giving the advice now.
Yeah,
How does that shape in your life? What age was in your transition over
yeah,
to the Forge Tony Jordan?
yeah. So I would say in the beginning for me, and you hit on it a little bit
Yeah,
when your whether it's industry or whether it's your job or all these positive things. I think people don't realize, and the character of the movie Tony Jordan didn't realize is that good things can become idolatry, and you
that's
go there and you go in and go in. Because idolatry in and of itself is anything that you put ahead of God. It could be
absolutely
absolutely anything.
right.
I'll give an example. Well, I'll just stay with my own career. For me, I started off people, you know, it's well documented now that I was a football player before I
Yeah,
was anything else, and that's all I cared about. Football was idolatry for me, and you don't even go because it's positive. Your mother tell you to go play it, and people come see you. There's nothing wrong with playing football, but when you put everything you got into that, you're not praying like you should. You're not worried about, your behavior. You're not worried about reading the Bible and going to
yeah,
church. You're just out of habit. You always have to pray over your food or when you need
yeah,
the Lord for something tough. That's idolatry, man. You got it backwards because football is getting the type of dedication that God should be giving. And so it's the same thing with anything else. Men are and then putting more uh, English into their jobs and careers instead of their wives, husbands, or children. And even if it's ministry, your
yeah,
ministry can become idolatry. If how well you deliver your message is more important than the time you spend with your wife and your children, that is not even biblically correct. If the Bible even tells you can't even lead your own holy, right? You shouldn't even be and teach them about that anything. But it feels so good to do well at work or get the promotion or anything. You put all your energy into that and like back to a whole idolatry. So for me, it was football, and then it turned. But when I switched to acting, it just became succeeding. Sometimes it becomes the mission, and
yeah,
um, but I think for me, my Tony Jordan bad, like how he was in the beginning.
yeah.
Uh, I I I wasn't quite as deep into the bad as he was,
Yeah,
but from my own level, it was just it lasted a long time for me. And
man.
this is interesting. When I really learned what it truly means to be a Christ follower, which is a historian of the self, about a story. I was a sophomore in college, even though I got saved, like I came to my belief, so to speak, when I was like 7 or 8 or 9, around that time. But I didn't really know what I was doing, so I don't always call that my saving moment. I call that using a track analogy. I call that getting into the starting blocks. But you ain't ran
Yeah,
no race. You
yeah,
ain't crossed the
yeah,
finish. So that's kind of where I was with that. But my sophomore year, that's when I really learned what it truly mean to follow Jesus. And I started. That's when the gun went off, and I
right,
started running.
right,
But I was about 21 at the time. I'm 48 now. Man, over that period, that what 18, 19 year period, I don't even do my math right. 20 some year period,
yeah,
25, 26 years. It's just been a slow burn of becoming of that Tony Jordan journey of constantly realizing stuff about yourself that the Lord is trying to change. And that's what it's been like for me. I felt like in phases, whether it's every 2 years or 3 years or 6 years, there's you think you on it, got it, like your spiritual growth as a Christ follower. There's something happens that shows you, dang. you ain't there yet in this area, and you get humbled and you fix that, and then since that was so hard, you like, yo, I am, and then something else happened.
Man.
That's been happening to me even as we speak, all the way up to
Yes.
or what I like to call season 48 of my life,
For real.
and even now, but I'm the best version of myself as a man, as a Christ follower, as a husband, as a father that I've
Yes.
ever been. And I expect to learn more of these lessons, but they get they get less and less. How should I say? You know how when you the more immature you are, it's like the more powerful and painful the lessons need to be. The
Yes.
more mature you get, they kind of just
Yes.
be more like sharpening.
Yep.
I feel like I'm at that sharpening
Sharpening.
stage
Yeah.
now. You know,
Yeah.
so that's kind of like how it is. You
Yeah.
know, for me, it's been like I said, like a 25-year span of just get. You know, some of these lessons are painful. You
Right.
know, and they just kind of just been sporadically happening over the last, like I said, man, 20 plus years to the
Mhm.
point now where I feel like, you just get
Yep.
you just kind of like getting the last little filings and get me sharp and everything, but there'll always be something.
Yeah. And I know, like, with the movies, I'm not sure the timeline of the movies, but, I know they came out, what, 9 years apart? I believe it was 9 years apart? Something
You,
like that?
you mean all my movies, or
This the War Room and Forge, like, those 2, I think they
oh
yeah, I think they were,
yeah,
like, 9 years.
War Room was 2015.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, about that.
So, I just think I was just thinking about, like, where I was, 9 years ago or 10 years ago, and it's like, I've been through a lot since then, like, a lot of refining, a lot of, man, I was basically a whole different person, honestly, from 9 or 10 years ago, so it's like, it's like you said, you go through those seasons, and I think when I lost my dad, which was going on 7 years now, like, that was, these past 7 years have been my refining season. Ever since 2019 till now. Actually, in a couple weeks, it'll be 7 years. So it's like ever since then, I was thinking about that, the timeline of Tony, Tony Jordan from if that was a 9 year window. It's like, man, like there's so much growth that can happen even in, a matter of weeks. But man, when you think about where you were, 10 years ago, and I'm sure, like you said, 20 years ago when you were in college at Louisville, it's like you look back, it's like two different people.
Bro. I mean, even at this 10 year period, you
Yeah.
talk about the Ali would go even shorter than that with the Ford.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Man, there are some things that, and this is one of the first time I even talked about this, but like, I I don't even look to be the same projects and nights.
Mm,
Like for me, like the faith based stuff is cool, but like for me, the type of people that I want to be around and I want to be able to impact because of more of a stress levels are recognized as a follower.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I really really hope and pray every day, you know, uh, to do more mainstream stuff because I have the strength to be the person that is the influencer as
Right.
opposed to being the one that is influenced. And that is what's needed. It's like I said, Jesus said, like a lot of people talk about when Jesus sat down there, atheist areas and all this kind of different things. Some people actually it misplay that scripture to say something that it don't say. But
Right.
for even those who have a good understanding of it, they know that he was invited by a sinner, to have a meal. Jesus is as strong as it gets. Obviously, you're not gonna change Jesus. So if you go into that situation, and if anybody's gonna change, it's gonna be all of y'all.
That
It ain't gonna be
yeah.
me. And it was part of his mission because, like he said on many occasions, it is not the healthy that be the doctor; it's the sick.
Sick.
He
Yep.
said that I've come to seek and save the lost. Right?
Yep.
A lot of people say that. But that's just their excuse to go through dirt and hang with sinful people and do
Absolutely.
sinful things. But if you really mean it the right way, you're saying that you need to be in an environment where people do not get to see Jesus unless they get around someone who is walking with him or people who may have the wrong idea about Jesus. They ain't gonna get the right idea unless they get around somebody who's walking with you to get,
Yeah.
you know, So for me, but it takes you have to be mature and strong
Yes.
in your own faith, or that situation will light your behind up. And so
Absolutely.
10, 15, 20 years ago, I was asking for those type of situations to end. There's no way I would have been strong enough
Ah, yeah.
to be in it. But as of yet, over the last several years, I've gotten to a point where in those situations, I come out the same, and other people come out different. So
Yeah.
it was that you might have seen it probably in my last, you know, faith based film when you saw me in the forge for that year a bit. That might be it because I feel like at this stage, and I've been praying ever since. The calling is just a little bit different, because I know the type of people that I need to reach. I'm just keeping it 100. I've been there. They're not watching the kids. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And the kids brought to the table. Like they don't make movies for the world. They make movies for the church. So they'll tell you that. Does it have the ability to maybe does it have the ability to maybe um crossover and well, I mean, God can do anything. I for the most part, my point is their whole purpose is to build the church. Therefore, and that's great. And my mission or calling feel a lot different these days. For me, it's to get around people who have either a lot of people get hurt by the church,
Mm.
or they've seen a lot of hypocrites, and they've seen a lot of stuff that makes them turn away from the Lord. My mission is to get around these people. They never gonna change me, but they
Right.
need to see what what a biblical Christian really lives like. And so I spend my time in humility, making sure I'm strong enough to be exactly that. So even if I don't cause you to change, I won't cause you to walk away. If you're not coming to the Lord, I won't be a reason that you are walking away or refusing to get to know Him. So yeah, man, it was literally I knew what I did before that would probably be my last one, and my whole everything, even my hair doesn't look like 9 inches. And everything's different about who I am in terms to the type of projects that I pursue right now. It's such an exciting time uh, because that's why people are like, why is Jesus' career is a little quiet right now? It's because I'm in that transition period. If I went around and do another faith-based film, and I say this humbly, I don't think it'd be too hard to maybe get somebody to give me the shot. Being
Right.
in your, but I kind of got to start over. I gotta. I wanted to. I want to tell stories that everybody can see and get to know me, and they get to know my story. It gets to know this shit about Jesus, and it impacts. And that's just requires a completely different approach, and that's completely different from anything that I've done up to this point.
Absolutely.
Other than that reality TV show, King of the Jungle, like on
King of the
that,
Jungle. I was
yeah,
yeah.
that was straight
Champion
mainstream.
though. Champion though.
I did win. I did win.
Yeah.
I did win.
Yeah. Man. No, keep standing on business, man. Keep being the light. And keep like I mean, you already know, like you said, you've gotten to a point where you pretty much seen and know everything that goes on. So you know what you're getting into when you walk into a room or when you go on a set. You know what to expect.
For sure.
And obviously when you read a script. So
For
um
sure.
yeah, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being the light. I got one more segment. It's a rapid fire. It's gonna go quick, and then we can end it there.
For sure.
All right, here we go. Movie or television series for you to
For
play
me.
in.
Man. That's yeah. Oh man. I'm gonna go TV.
TV, okay.
I'm on TV because it's I mean, you could do if you get on the right show, you can go 10, 15,
Just keep
20.
going. Yeah,
Yeah, bro.
yeah,
Then you can write your whole movie.
yeah, for sure. You got spin-offs and you got all kind of stuff. Tony Jordan or Trey Millwood?
Triple.
Dang,
Easy.
that was
Easy.
quick.
Oh man, Tony don't have enough. He don't have a. Tony's pretty much straightforward, man. Man,
Okay.
Trey. Trey is closer to who I actually am as a person.
Okay.
So that's that character was invented for me,
Wow.
and I really was just being myself, and I created who Trey is. There was
Yeah.
no script for him, and so I
Wow.
got and you just looking at what TC would be like if he was ever a detective. Well, you better watch out.
That was a quick. I don't know why I was expecting that one to be harder. That was funny though.
Yeah, Trey on there,
War Room or The Forge?
or
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's I think my and I'll tell you this. I personally just think opportunity was missed. Uh, but at the
Mm.
end of the day, this is another reason why I'm kind of like shifting out of faith based because you can't fault Alex and Steven for how they do their stuff because
Right.
everything's got it by prayer. So if they say the Lord wants to do a certain thing, that's what they're gonna do. We can't
Right.
argue with that, and so on and so forth. But it doesn't really open up to a bunch of creative liberties with your cast and all this kind of thing. Because personally, I felt like Forge was a standalone movie on its own. Cameron and those guys, they that's a standalone. I think a actual real War Room sequel got wasted. Like you really could have done a full sequel or a real War Room 2 versus, you know, uh, that was kind of like I felt like a something to get you to come back to see the Forge, but I think the Forge was strong enough as a topic and a story to do that all on its own.
Oh, okay.
I think it would have got people all on its own, and it would have just been a great story all by itself. And we could have done a real sequel um, to War Run, where it really is what is Sully doing now? What is Danielle doing now? Her in college, her going
Yeah.
through things, and really go. But we were just, like side pieces to stay in that world. And I think, I mean, they still could do it at
Right.
some
Yeah, I
point.
was thinking, I was like, they can still do
Um,
it.
but yeah, War Room for sure.
I gotta say this because this is kind of what I remembered you from, and it was like it's like a sleeper. I don't know how you feel about it, but A Question of Faith.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love
That's a
Question
sleeper
Faith,
movie
man.
for me. Me and my wife watched that
Yeah,
movie a while back before we moved here. I remember that movie. I used to play that the song at the end where it could have been me, all that. I used to
yeah.
listen to that song all the like that version. I would literally look it up and listen to that song all the time. I just thought it was really well put together.
Man, so many projects are my favorites because they allowed me to meet certain people. Like almost some people I grew up watching.
Kim Fields.
Was it? Yeah, man. I'm like you don't sit there. That's been a story of my career. That's been one of the coolest things about my
Yeah.
career is watching. Getting a chance to be improv with people that I was watching when I was really just trying to go to the NFL. I wasn't trying to be, and I'm never thinking about acting at all. So how crazy is that? I'm watching, Cosby Show or watching
Yeah.
Facts of Life.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about being an actor. I care less about acting. I'm a football player.
Right.
And you go 20 years later, I'm trading lines with Kim. I'm trading the
Man.
lines, with Keisha Guy Pulliam. I'm trading lines with Richard T. Jones,
T.
with
Jones.
Greg I. Williams from Coach. I used to watch Coach. Just all these different shows or whatever mess over. Question of Faith, had me meet a lot of people that I have been,
Yeah.
watching TV. And then also, I'm generally a rough guy in the movies, and I got a chance to be the sweetheart that
Right.
everybody,
Yeah. Yeah. I get that too.
liked. So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Kim Fields' childhood crush right there.
There
Anyway,
you go. There you go.
moving on. Acting or producing?
Wow, it's funny. Right now in my career, it's acting
Hmm.
because it's just so many things that I haven't got a chance to do that people have not seen from me. But I I wrote my first script,
Yep.
um, and I just realized that the producer has become a passion because when you have to say no as much as I've had to say it, you
Hmm.
get to a point and you realize
You're in
that
control.
you got to start creating your own
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
Like you got the type of projects you want to do. You got to start creating. And see what's the deal at this stage of my career in my life. I'm getting real bold with the fact that it. I want to make it cool to be clean content.
Yeah.
Everybody talk about like, well, you got to keep it real. I'm like, look, homie, in my house, you know, when I stump my toe, I don't say F
Right.
because Jesus is still in my house. Like that's real for me. Praying
Right.
is real for me. Talking to the Lord in my car when I'm by myself, that's actually real for me. So the stuff
Yes.
that y'all call corny, that's actually real life for me. It's not like this fake thing that you do. So since it's real life for me, then it needs to be represented in real life in entertainment. And so it's not corny when people call now where it can get corny and cheesy is when you don't show how hard it is to actually pull this off, or when you kind of like always make everything work out. Like that is corny and cheesy because that's not the real Christian life. But at the end of the day, I don't know why people always think that in films, you talk to yourself like you pray, you get on your knees in films, but in real life, I pray, I talk to the Lord, I pray through my decisions. I don't use profanity even in
Right.
private. Like I said,
Right.
it's like, yo, so Romans 2:16 is a governor of my privacy. It says God through his son Jesus Christ will judge every person's secret life.
Mm.
So ain't no secrets with the Lord. So what you see is
Absolutely.
what you. So when you see me in a film, I gotta write characters that live this way. The only as a producer, the only difference between me and what I have to see is that a lot of what I write, it may not be like I said, faith based,
Mm.
but Jesus will exist in this world.
Man.
That's the thing. He will exist in this world. And that's kind of how I want to write, where in all that I do, there is God, there is Jesus. He does exist. So, I don't have to preach a sermon in my film, but you're never going to see me do a film as if Jesus didn't exist. I just go ham, just do whatever I want. So, producing is a necessary thing that I need to get into, but until I've really emptied myself more with my abilities and get a chance to really, really, really show what I can do as an actor, I'm always going to still be in front of that camera. And I think at some point they're going to be happening simultaneously. And then I might peel off to where I'm more of a producer and help other people get going. Because again, I I know there are others like me, but I will see a whole lot of people that's willing to embrace the fact that they like clean content.
Yeah.
Don't run from it. Don't think you're gonna, have
Absolutely.
people not want to work with you because you are a clean content performer. I'll leave all the F bombs and the MFs and the nudity and all of that to other people. I'm a
Yes.
clean content performer, producer, creator who wants whole families to be able to come out. I know how to do grit and tough stuff without doing it in a dishonoring way to the Lord. I even know how to do if you had to show that somebody was having extramarital affair or anything like that. I've told I coach some other actors, producers, and I've told them how you can do something like that. Man,
Oh, yeah.
if you see me walking into a room, I'm holding her hand, I'm looking at her, she's looking at me. Then you use music to create the thing, and then we walk into that room, and the door shuts behind us, and then you
Yeah.
see us hugging, and it goes black, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
and it comes up, and we're in the bed. I have my shirt off. Whatever the covers are there, and then I get up and get dressed to go to work. Everybody knows what
Knows what
happened,
happened.
and you didn't have to dishonor God in any way. So there's your infidelity, your fights, your drinking, your drugs, like you do all of this stuff and keep it 100 without dishonoring God, because the Bible already does a great job at that. Don't act like it ain't sex and violence and murders and whatever. My kids have been reading about it every year for the last 9 years, and as graphic as the Bible is, but it's done in a God honoring way.
Man.
That's what you have to do. So you can do it in the Bible. You could do it in your life and in your entertainment. The key thing is this: you have to ask yourself, and people don't want to do this, but that type of thing can you struggle to be a Christ following. How can I do this in a way that God walked in? He would be pleased with what I do. If you ask yourself that, no matter what genre you're working in, you can get it done.
Man, there's a question here that I want to ask, but I'm trying to keep it rapid fire. Film set or football field?
Woo!
And how would you feel about playing an athlete or a football player on set?
Okay, so Now there's some nuance to this one.
Yeah.
I will always say, um, man, if I could have made it all the way, like I got a chance to play some professional football, but if I had a chance to, if you told me you got two dreams, you
Yeah.
could be the greatest athlete in the world, or you can make it to the NFL and have the greatest career, I would have chosen that. Because that's the dream I had when I was 12 years old,
Right.
struggling, in the going through it. My mother used to come see me play, just all these different things. And like I said, I never got a chance to really max out, my potential there. And I just,
No.
like I said, people look at my highlights, clips, and stuff like that. And why did you make it? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
so if you tell me I got a chance to answer that question, like, and really, let all things be equal, and I get to then it would definitely be football field. Now, if you talking about like, on the other hand, well, I tell you, the film career is a lot less painful.
Yeah,
I can
I
tell you
believe that.
that.
I guess unless you're a stunt man.
Yeah, but as far as playing one it's playing one in a film. Let me just tell you this: one thing I'm blessed with right now, which I love. I told you I'm 48. No one ever believes me. Everybody think I'm in my 30s. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna I'm,
absolutely.
I'm gonna love that compliment until I can't love it no more. But there's still an opportunity for me to do that, and I should be doing that. Play a football player in the movie. Absolutely, I would crush it. Right now, somebody tell me I could play a college. I still play a college kid, especially with the way some of these college kids look these days.
Man,
And I ain't lost nothing. It's still there, baby.
man,
You know what I mean? So,
king of the jungle.
so for sure. So I would love to play. If not that, I think I'd be a great coach.
Mm.
I understand the game too much. It's only the years in the game. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. So hey, I feel like my career honestly is just getting started. So there's no telling what you might see from me down the road. But what you can bank on is that I will not dishonor God in my career. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Playing a hero or playing a villain?
hero.
Hero. Okay.
Because I've done
Okay.
villain too much in my actual film career. Um, and it's funny you should mention that. Let's just man, you know what? uh, Tyler, we don't have to do a round two. And I'll say this for all your listeners. But let me just tease you this way. What you just said maybe happen sooner rather than later.
Nice.
Let's just keep that in mind for all the
Let's
listeners.
go. Let's
Playing a
go.
hero and villain, you there's definitely the hero, and you may see that sooner rather than later. And then I'll come back on Tyler's show, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk
You
about
heard it here first. You heard
there you go.
it.
There you go. Breaking news.
Breaking news. And last but not least, what is your personal favorite Bible verse, the one that sticks with you, the one that you would share with others?
It would be Psalms 139:16. It says,
Okay.
"You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." And why this is so important is because we live in a world right now where everybody is always struggling to purpose. Why am I here? What is it what I want me to do? Or even if they're not saying what they want me to do, they're just saying, what am I supposed to be doing? And when I read that scripture, you saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment laid out before the single day as that just showed me that before I was born, God knew me, laid me on purpose, with a purpose. So it takes the guesswork completely out of life. And I can tell people that all you have to do is look at that scripture, decide if you believe it. If you believe it, then if you can ask God what He made you do, and He would give you the answer. Because the whole point of being here is so that you can fulfill your God-given purpose in life. And so for me, that was a game changer for me because of there's 8 billion things you could be doing with your life. To see a
Yeah.
scripture that tells you that God made you, built a plan before you were born and mapped it out moment by moment, man, from a guy who was a professional athlete or from a guy who's an actor, if there's one thing I understand, it's scripts and playbooks. So you telling me that God already has the script to my life, a playbook for my life. All I got to do is ask Him. And James 1:5 says, if you lack wisdom, you can ask God. So all I do is, Lord, give me the playbook for my life. Give me the script for my life. You combine the Bible, the Holy Spirit, God's sovereignty, Jesus being the lead, and you committed to your purpose, the faith and trust, you live in life. And so I love that scripture, but it can't change it for me. So, that's the key. If I have depression and all these chemical things, is realizing that God has a plan for their life, and in that plan is there is a lot of pain that's built into it because the Bible promises in this life you will have trouble. People always talk about the good stuff, but your purpose also involves some tough stuff too. So now even my pain makes sense. So that scripture right there was a game changer for me. And so, I'm wrestling with a childlike faith right now, where I trust him like a little baby. He can tell me to do anything is get done. There's so many things I don't understand that matter. It's almost like when your mother and father be like, yo, do it because I said so. You don't understand why, but you trust that parent and you do it. Same thing when they be like, come go with me. You're like, where you going? They say, don't worry about it, just go. You trust them because you know it's gonna be good because that's mom or dad
Yeah.
who loves you. And that's where I am at the stage of my life, my career, with everything. I walk in the childlike faith, um, and I love it, man. I'm gonna keep doing that and keep encouraging everybody to do the same. Those who know him and those who are getting to know him.
Absolutely. Well, if you're watching this, I'm sure you've seen War Room by now, hopefully, unless you've been under a rock. I'm sure you've probably seen The Fords. If you haven't, go check out him on the series Vindication as Trey Millwood as well to see him in a different light if you would like to do
Hey,
that.
I got one. I got one better for you.
Uh-oh.
Something that this is what I've done. During the pandemic, that's when I lost my brother, 2020.
Yeah.
And the last project, man, she saw me do was my documentary. If you really want to get to know
Yes.
me, you really want to get to know me. If you really want to know
Yes.
what makes me me, I went on ahead and made that free on my Facebook page.
Yes.
I'm at Real TC Stallings, all across the world, all social
Yep.
media. But if you headed my Facebook, that was kind of like one of the best places to house it, where they allowed me to upload the entire thing.
Yep.
I put
Yep.
it right there, and that's one of the biggest platforms. So I want to see this. I want to see this flow across the world. So if
Yes.
y'all really want to do something cool and do two things at once, just go and give it a full watch all the way through on Facebook. It's pinned right there. It's called TC Stall. It's the story behind the run. Forget all my other movies. Go watch this one because if I don't ever get to be a part of another project, this one holds my testimony, and it shows you what makes TV. If I don't get to do anything else, I'm so glad that I put this testimony of mine into
Yes.
documentary form, and you're going to enjoy it and inspire you. So go see
The
my
run.
documentary on my Facebook page at Real TC Stallings. And leave a comment. Let me know how if you enjoyed it and share it, man. Let's make it one of the. I made it free, so give me some. Go watch it and share it with the world. Let's get it trending. Let's get it popping. Cool.
Man, I still can't believe they try to make you a linebacker, man. It's
Hey,
See, I
but
watched.
God,
Yeah,
but God got a plan, man. Like
I got him from him.
I looked at it. I literally was one of the smallest linebackers in the country.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting on conference. You know what I mean?
Man.
And like I said, it was a challenge, but I'm like, yo, okay. So you move me up a running back, you do the linebacker. I'm like, all right, I'll build it. I was a freshman. I did it, get on
Yep.
conference. Then
Yep.
fire my coach. And then I'm like, new coach. I'm like, yo, okay, you made me a linebacker. Give me one carry.
Yeah.
Give me this. Let me
Yep.
run the ball
Oh,
one time. This is one run time.
50
They let me.
yards.
They let me run it one time. I took one carry. That's what he told me. He told me too. Hey, you get one. I give you one. And I don't know what he thought I was gonna do with it, but I took that thing and went 50-yard touchdown. And the rest is history. I became a star running back.
Man.
Y'all gotta go watch it, man.
Go watch it. Yeah, go watch
It's
it.
there's a story behind um, everything there, and it's all documented. So it's some stuff. I mean, this is unbelievable, but it's all documented right there. But this is a transition point for me. The next movie you see me in, because there's things in the works. In the next
No.
movie you see me in,
Is
and
it on
if
here?
all things go well, this will be the biggest project that I've ever been part of in my life, and it's gonna challenge me in some incredible ways. A world that it's a period piece too. It's a period piece, and it's based on true stuff. So that's about as much as I can say at this point. Um, a mainstream, great story, historical story dealing with the Civil War, and so yeah, man. Be
I think it's right
that.
here.
I hope you get a chance to see that. But for right now, as I get ready to transition to the next phase of my career, I definitely would appreciate people going. I said, go to my Facebook page and check out that documentary. Get to know me and what makes me me, and then just pray to me and follow me as I move into this next
Yes.
phase, which should be the most challenging phase, but it's going to be the most fun and possible working future.
Let's go. Hey, stay focused and God bless y'all.